Welcome back to The Watch, and Star Wars The Acolyte is cancelled, which more specifically is referring to any future installments. Season 2 more specifically. It's done! Which is, well, that's at least is what is being reported. Now, this is interesting for a number of reasons, and I have thoughts to share, and I want to share with you. In case you didn't know, The Acolyte, Star Wars Acolyte, was complete, astounding, unmitigated crap. We reviewed every episode here on Night's Watch, and it was one of the worst TV shows I've ever seen, with some of the worst writing, which is amazing because I thought Rings of Power Season 1 took that title. The Acolyte, they took it to a whole new level. And on top of like just horrible writing, okay, and terrible characters, there's so many layers of bad in it. It was also just a really kind of messed up show in terms of its morality, its ethical perspective, where the show was trying to get you to identify with the Sith, okay? That the evil people were the protagonists of that show. And if you want to see an absolutely brilliant video breaking down the morality of it, check out Little Platoon's video looking at the ethics of the Acolyte. Brilliant video. And genuinely, the Acolyte is vile. It is a truly vile show. But what was astounding, we've seen this before, okay, yet I shouldn't be surprised, although I am, when I see people try and defend such a terrible show. And they've done it before. They did it with Rings of Power, they did it with Rise of Skywalker, the Access Media, all that. And even when a show reaches new heights of bad, okay, breaks new ground, and the bottom of the barrel goes further down, they still try and defend it. And I'm like, surely, wouldn't like Rise of Skywalker, Rings of Power been the like? Do you have any standards? Okay, and yet with Acolyte, so many people were actually trying to defend that dog crap show. The Access Media reviews were depressingly positive about it, okay? That should tell you just how credible so many Access review sources are. The people who made the show genuinely thought it was something good. Leslie Headland, former assistant to Harvey Weinstein, Leslie Headland, in case you don't know, genuinely thought that was something moving and deep. Check out Little Platoon's video. He's got quotes on it. It's amazing, right? But also showing her actual perspective, right? Or who she identifies with. And her moral kind of compass and what she's expressing with that show. They genuinely thought it was something deep, meaningful, and powerful. Kathleen Kennedy, who was the head of Lucasfilm, mind you, okay, reports were that she wept when she read the scripts for this show. Really demonstrates that the people making this stuff don't understand objective standards of quality and storytelling. Okay, that's just all a bit of background and preamble to this news that the Acolyte is being cancelled, because there are some interesting implications regarding this. Some I'm not, convinced of. What are the implications, though? And then I'll share my further thoughts. Is Lucasfilm learning from its mistakes with cancelling the Acolyte? I think not. I believe the reality of the Acolyte being so bad, we're talking about massive drop-off in viewership. Outside of the Access Media, nearly all the discussion was universally just mocking it for how dumb it is. The power of one, the power of two, the power of it. Like, yeah, we've seen that scene, right? Like, so bad. So bad. And Disney sunk a lot of money into this horrible show. What was it, like 200 million? Like every episode of this show cost more than the entire budget of Godzilla -1. And it looked like crap, and it was written like crap, and it was just directed like crap. It was all bad, okay? Compared to Godzilla -1, which was phenomenal. And so they lost huge amounts of money. Have they decided that we just can't lose any more, and that's the reason why they pulled the plug. It was so unpopular for the larger, Star Wars fan base and everything. Does that indicate Disney is learning from its mistakes? I would be more convinced that would be the case if they cancelled the Rey movie. Isn't that still in production? To my knowledge, unless something has changed. It doesn't seem like Lucasfilm, headed by Kathleen Kennedy, is really learning from its mistakes. This is just kind of cutting their losses, and let's try and throw some other ultra-progressive, woke-infested, because the company is infested with activists like this, going to throw something else at the fan to see if they can get a hit. And there was a report that Kathleen Kennedy, and this is a report, I haven't substantiated it directly myself, so take it with a grain of salt, but the report is that Kathleen Kennedy is not going to be stepping aside, leaving Lucasfilm, until she gets a solid hit under her belt. After failure after failure after failure. It's like sunken cost fallacy. Put in all this time. I'm not leaving until I make something successful. The problem is, Kathy, you need competence and ability to make something, good. But maybe she doesn't want to make something good, she just wants to make something successful. Because that has happened. Look at the Transformers series. So, who knows, right? But if anything, it seems like we have come to understand that Kathleen Kennedy is not leaving Lucasfilm until she wants to. And my own subjective, unsubstantiated opinion on this, it really feels like she has a lot of dirt on people. That she's been in there for a while. That's kind of how the game is played in Hollywood. You don't really get promoted based on true merit talent. It's who you know. It's who you schmooze. It's who you casting couch. Maybe that has stuff related to it. Not saying that about Kathleen Kennedy, but we do know the casting couches were related into people getting roles and promotion. Harvey Weinstein certainly seemed to be on board with that mentality. And I wonder if the creator producer of this, his former assistant, might also. Look, I don't know. But nepotism is certainly one. One of the more prominent characters in the Acolyte was Leslie Headlands, who's controlled the whole thing. That's her wife. That's why I called her Jedi Master Nepo, for nepotism. Because she was horrible at acting and didn't deserve it on merit. And I also wonder, blackmail and dirt, having on other people, that protects you, that gets you advancement and other things. And my own perception of this is my opinion, but it really feels like there are so many bad actors in Hollywood, right, that they purposely hire people who are doing the same thing as them, and they're just as corrupt, just as shady, doing really dodgy things with underage people. Right, the stuff comes out of Hollywood, which is horrifying, right? And there was that whole thing that there was this guy convicted of sexual assault, something really bad in Nickelodeon, okay, with minors. And he got hired by Disney. Why would that happen, right? And my impression is that it's because people are doing in Disney, if they hire that guy, he's not going to rat them out because he's doing the same thing and they have the same standards. People usually gravitate towards other people who have either same standards or usually indulging in the same type of activities. That's why I gravitated towards people who play D&D and nerds, because they're my people, right? And so you wonder why there are so many problematic people in Hollywood? Okay, is it because that they feel more protected by hiring people of similar standards? And if you rat me out, I'll rat you out. We've got dirt on each other. That's my impression. I'm starting to really think that about Hollywood these days. And it really feels like Kathleen Kennedy has dirt on people. My opinion, but she's sticking around. And because of that, she's the main head. She's the one, who can hire people underneath her who have similar standards. Why do you think so many people are getting hired in Disney and Lucasfilm that have the same ultra-progressive kind of positions and viewpoints and stuff? I do think DEI, hiring practices, has a role to play with that as well. But it just all goes to show you that I really don't think things are going to be changing much in Lucasfilm, and the projects or things coming out like the Dre film or anything like that is going to be anything different. It's all going to be par for the course for Disney Star Wars these days. And so I don't see the Acolyte being cancelled as a sign of Lucasfilm changing anytime soon. A real sign of change will be if they produce something for the fans that is true to Star Wars, true to the original properties, that has classic, authentic traditional themes of heroism and, yes, masculinity and traditional femininity, right? Those classic ideals that are universal truths that resonate with most people, the vast majority of people who watch them. This is why classic, stories with close classic themes do really well. Look at Top Gun Maverick. Even Deadpool Wolverine, okay, has some of that more classic heroism, masculinity, even though the writing isn't that good and stuff like that. I enjoyed it, but it has some of those classic things. And some of the more successful stuff usually has classic, traditional themes of heroism, masculinity, femininity. Even like season 1 of House of the Dragon, right? What a legend Viserys was. A truly patriarchal, fatherly figure who would do anything and sacrifice anything for his family and for his role as the caretaker and ruler of his nation, okay? Did really well, and those things resonate with people. So Disney, Lucasfilm would have to make something actually good, okay, to convince me that they might be changing. I don't think this is it. There's another aspect to the Acolyte being cancelled part that I wanted to touch on and talk about. And there was a more smaller group of criticizing people like me and others in the Fellowship for reviewing the Acolyte and destroying it, exposing it for how horrible it really was. And the notion of stop hate watching because you're only helping it out. Clearly, all the just dunking on it, roasting it, rightly roasted because it deserved it, right? Didn't help out the Acolyte. It's getting cancelled. Like all the mockery that happened on X, Twitter, after every episode dropped was hilarious and just fun to watch. And everyone was roasting it. I was exposing it and showing people that, wow, this really is junk and it's not deserving of your money or attention, okay? People like me will give it attention to expose it. That's why I'm here. That's why we stay on watch, right? And that helps inform other people. As the common saying arises with many of the reviews here on Night's Watch and all across the Fellowship is, thank you for watching it so I don't have to. But then if something is actually good, it's thank you for watching it so I know it's worth my time, and then they go and check it out. So clearly it didn't help. And a good example, right, is sometimes people just, they don't want to pay too much attention. They're just letting to, turn their brain off and what they want entertainment. I get that. I'm getting, mindsets like that many a times, right? I just want something entertaining, okay? And Acolyte, I think it was episode 4 or something came out. It was the one where it was mostly fighting. And everyone was praising it for how great the fighting was. And it was basically bad interpretive dance with glow sticks swinging around. It was horrible, okay? And so I made a dedicated fight scene autopsy exposing just how good that choreography really was. I did a mini, highlight clip on Twitter that went viral and got several million views. Oh, come off it! Saul is literally holding Smilo's lightsaber at bay. He's like, all right, free shot, open, kill him, Padawan. And she comes in and kicks him. Your lightsaber's right there. You can kill him, but instead you're going to kick him because you're a retard. Come off it, I can't stand this crap. And that really served to destroy the narrative that Acolyte had the best lightsaber fight scenes since Duel of the Fates, right? And whenever someone tried to Acolyte is so great with fight scenes, they were sharing my clip, okay? And that clip served to destroy that more larger perception that Acolyte is such great fighting and things like that. It didn't help it by any means, okay? You know the classic saying, sunlight is the best disinfectant? This really served to be that, where the old adage that any attention, any controversy is advertising for the thing. My brain just went dead on the classic saying. I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments below, any something is good something. I forget my brain went dead on that, right? But I don't think that holds true universally anymore. Because now we have things like the Streisand effect, where sometimes too much attention on exposing something, right, doesn't help it out, especially if something is wanting to be presented as good, worthy of someone's time. No, Acolyte was near universally mocked, rightly so, for how bad it was online. It got a lot of attention in that, okay, but it wasn't good attention. It didn't translate for success or money for Disney. In fact, they've cancelled it. Because that's ultimately what happens. If something is bad, it's worthy of being exposed. Something is good, worthy of being promoted. And so I do genuinely feel everyone who has been exposing how bad the Acolyte is, all right, they are the reasons, in a large measure, okay? One of the causal reasons, okay? Because ultimately this is the result of people just not giving a crap. But one of the things that helped people not give a crap was the people exposing it. Everyone who was involved in it, all across, like, not just their fellowship, but just YouTube generally and the internet. All right? That is what killed the Acolyte, as it deserved. It's almost like a mercy killing. Just put it out of its misery at this point. It's terrible. Put Star Wars out of its misery at this point. We still have the classic stuff, but Disney Star Wars deserves to be put out of its misery. Talking about a non-living concept entity, Disney Star Wars YouTube, not advocating violence against anyone. So, that's kind of where we're at. And it works. This is like a win for the fans. Because Acolyte was so bad. And I'm happy it's cancelled. It didn't deserve to be a season 2, with only one kind of caveat. It would have been really fun to see how bad season 2 would have been, and to roast that as well, because that's the only type of enjoyment I'm getting out of it. I think Disparu, out of anyone in the Fellowship, would be most disappointed that Acolyte season 2 was cancelled, just as he is so desperate to see a Willow season 2. That one, I can't do that. Disparu, that one is too painful for me. Oh, Willow season 2. Ooh. Wheel of Time is painful enough. But that's where we're at, and those are the thoughts I wanted to share. This is a victory for the fans, and we will continue observing what is happening with Star Wars and the properties we love to expose what is actually bad and celebrate what is actually good, because that's what we do. Stay on watch.